You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, that was a little more like it. Dodgers with a 5-0 win. Just went final, blanking the Padres in San Diego at Petco to even the series at a game apiece. Rubber game tomorrow. I am Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast. We come on after the game and break it down for you. Thanks for watching us on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel and the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Again, 5-0 the final. Out hit by the Padres tonight at Petco, 6-5. But Teoscar Hernandez, the man, got a breaking ball. I think it was a slider down and in, and he just ripped it down the left field line after a wonky half of an inning for the Padres that got the Dodgers the bases loaded. I believe it went 3 walks, a balk, and a wild pitch. So they kind of gifted the Dodgers that one, but the home run was legit. Teoscar Hernandez, 5 home runs in his last 8 games. A 1-2 slider was what it was, and it came down and in. And he kind of reached out a little bit and went and got it and poked it into the seats. It wasn't a bomb, but nonetheless a home run, and it did the job. 380 some feet, I believe. So Dodgers with a comfortable, confident win on the back of James Paxton, who continues to perform productively today. A little bit more effective, considerably more effective, I would say, than his last few outings, but he is still undefeated. His record now 4-0, 6 innings today, no runs, 4 hits, 4 Ks. And part of that is my fault. Well, I should say not fault. I should say I'm responsible for that performance from James Paxton because I put him into a PrizePicks tonight along with Waldron, the Padres starting pitcher. And, on PrizePicks, they have the demons and the goblins. Well, they had 2 goblins for these selections. So you had no opportunity to I got distracted there by Mr. Seabad's comment. You know what's funny about that? I was a Dallas fan as a little kid when I was like 10 years old because I didn't know any better. But this is like one of those alternate cool Dodger hats that I think it was a spring training hat one year, and I absolutely loved it. The funny thing about I'm a hat fanatic, totally distracted here. Have to get back to whatever the hell I was talking about a second ago. This is all your fault, Mr. Seabad. What the hell was I just discussing? Anyway, I'll hopefully get back there. But I have, I don't know, half a dozen Dodger hats, but I do not have one of the standard game hats that they wear night in and night out. I had one as a little kid, but it doesn't fit me anymore. And it was like from the 50s. It was one of those flat ones made out of wool. So I have spring training. I have all these different weird, alternate hats. So yes, I'm wearing a weird Dodger hat. Not a Cowboys fan anymore, but I was as a little kid. I think that the story went, it was like 78, 79. I'm like 10 years old. My dad's watching the Super Bowl with me. It was the Cowboys and Broncos. And it was that typical thing. My dad's not even really a big sports fan. He likes basketball a little. And he says to me, all right, who do you want to root for? I'm like, the blue team. And he goes, all right, I'll root for the orange team. And the Cowboys ended up winning that. So I was a Cowboy fan there for a few years till I came to my senses and grew up. Anyway, back to the game at hand here. Dodgers with a 5-0 win on the back of Teoscar Hernandez. Craig, remind me what the hell I was just talking about. Or Mr. Seabad. Yes. Can you please remind me what I was discussing before you distracted me with my hat? Was it James Paxton? I think it might have been 6 innings. He's now 5-0, not 4-0. Sorry. They have it wrong in the box score. Underneath the line score, they have James Paxton 4-0 And then down in the bottom, they have him, under the Dodgers pitchers. He's now 5-0, no runs, 4 hits, striking out 4. Oh, I was telling you about, it wasn't serious. I was telling you about my prize picks. I had Paxton to go over to give up more than 4.5 hits. So 5 hits, which I thought he gave up 4. So I was right there. I missed it by 1. And then I had Waldron. I think his number was 3.5, maybe 4.5, right around that same number. And he was pretty lights out today. So he bounced back from a terrible outing against the Arizona Diamondbacks where he gave up like 8 hits or something. That knuckleball today was working pretty good. I love seeing knuckleballers, and I liked seeing James Paxton throw the knuckle curve quite a bit. He had just about everything working, wouldn't you say? I mean, he was getting guys out with the high fastball. He was getting guys out with the off-speed breaking stuff. The cutter down and in was good. Anything down with the cutter, off-speed, slider, sinker, knuckle curve, all of those pitches for James Paxton today were cutting sharp and getting people out. But he was also getting people out. I think he got Tatis Jr. out on a strikeout with a fastball around the letters. No, it was Machado, I remember, because he walked away and asked the umpire if it was a strike. So, he did a little bit of everything tonight. So he's definitely mixing it up real nice and has it working. So 5-0 through 95 pitches. His ERA now 2.58. And more than anything, I think I would say the most impressive thing he did today, no walks, right? And Fuego in Diego. Very good. Mr. Seabad's on a roll tonight. And I know Craig is a Paxton fan, just, stating the obvious. So tonight, Craig, it was a little bit better than the, scattering 6 or 8 hits and bend, don't break. Tonight, he really had it working. And as much as I wanted to give up one more hit, it didn't really matter because Waldron only gave up 2 hits, but also gave up 2 runs. He takes the loss. He's now 1-5. I think he had a couple of wild pitches. ERA at 5.49, 6 Ks though, and 1 home run. That was to Freddie Freeman in the 4th inning. Was it the first inning? Yeah, it was the first inning. Freddie Freeman's 4th home run of the season. So he got the scoring started for the Dodgers off of Waldron on a knuckler that didn't knuckle. The one thing I like about seeing knuckleballers, because I think the pitch is phenomenally interesting and just cool, right? It's fantastic to watch when it's working. But the other thing I love about knuckleballers, they don't do it so much anymore as back when we were kids. The catcher usually has this big waffle mitt, right? It's like a first baseman's glove. But this catcher today didn't. It was a little bit bigger, but it wasn't quite that 70s waffle style glove that we used to see. Campusano and what is his name? Higashioka. Higashioka. He did a pretty good job. That one knuckleball that got by him, he was like, whoa, he couldn't keep up with it at all. So, I mean, that's the double-edged sword of the knuckleball pitcher. Yes, it definitely extends careers. And it's always funny how a pitcher discovers that they can throw a knuckleball. They told the story during the broadcast that this guy was just, during spring training, going through a bad streak in his career and just screwing around with a teammate and started throwing the knuckler. And that teammate, who I guess was like 6'7" or something, was like, hey, that's working pretty good. You should try that. And lo and behold, he did, and it worked, and it is, helped his career. Although he's 1-5, so I don't know how much it's helping him, but he looked good today. Just, it's the Dodgers, tough break. They just stay on you. That was kind of one of my overriding sentiments of this game. It was tight up until the 6th inning when Teoscar hit that grand slam home run. But the Dodgers are just there. They're on you. They're just nipping at your heels the whole time. They don't let up. Even last night, it was just tight right through the end. Oh, and there was a stat at the beginning of the game. I don't know if you caught it. I did, and I wrote it down. That I love these stats that end with the first time this has ever happened in the history of baseball. I'm like, that can't be. I'm going to tell you what it is after the break. Something happened in that game last night that was a first in the history of baseball. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel and the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. All right, tonight's show brought to you in part by Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is where? There it is. Stitch Fix is phenomenally cool. If you don't love shopping, I like shopping, but this is also a very, very easy, cool way to keep your wardrobe fresh and up to date. And you know that feeling that you get when you get new clothes or a new outfit that makes you feel confident because you look really good. Well, that's what you get all the time with Stitch Fix. They have, what are they called? Fashion designers? No, stylists, personal stylists that work with you, and they figure out what works for you, what colors you like. You like tight, you like baggy, you like dressy, you like casual, you like jeans, you like t-shirts. What do you like? They find out what your style is, and then they help you pick out your wardrobe based on that so it works for you. Stitch Fix makes it easy, so easy. I don't like to shop that much. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'm more of a Costco shopper, or I like to shop online, and sometimes that's tough, but I love Costco because you can just go in, they have a little bit of everything. But when you're trying to get stuff that's a little bit more stylish and that fits together for work events and so forth, then Stitch Fix is right up your alley, because they, again, make it easy for you. They make it convenient for you. And if you don't like something or you don't love it, you think it's okay, but it's not my style, in spite of what I told you, you can just send it back. Shipping and returns and exchanges are always free. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/lockedon. That's stitchfix.com/lockedon. stitchfix.com/lockedon. All right. Dodgers blank the Padres to even the series at a game apiece. 5-0 the final on the back of James Paxton and Teoscar Hernandez. Last night in the Dodger game, this happened, and I guess according to Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser, it's never, ever, ever happened before, which I can't believe. I do, one of my other jobs is I do a thing called The Day in Sports History for a syndicated network. So every day of the year, Monday through Friday, I have to come up with interesting facts about the history of sports, not just baseball. So I am always researching weird random stats and facts and things that happened back in history that are just interesting. So this one obviously would be in that list for next year, because it's never happened before, according to Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser. Two teams playing in a game have never gone 7 or more innings. The starters have never gone 7 or more innings with double-digit Ks. Last night, the Dodgers, Glasnow had 10, and King for the Padres had 11. So 7 or more, double-digit Ks, and scored 2 or fewer runs in the game. So that game last night was the first of its kind. 10 or more Ks for both pitchers that both went 7, and the game ended with 2 or fewer runs for each team. Craziness. I'm like, what? That's never happened. Even like back in the late 1800s when, scoring was challenging because they had all these weird rules back then. I don't know if you know this. The pitcher's mound was farther away. There was no mound, so the pitcher didn't have the acceleration to thrust off of the rubber. They're just standing there, and throwing overhand was illegal. Your arm couldn't come above your shoulder. And there was something like you had to get 6 strikes and 8 balls for a walk. There was all these weird rules way, way, way back in the day. And scoring was tough, right? Hitting home runs was nearly impossible. You've heard of the dead ball era? Yeah, that's what that was. So I can't believe that back then, right? 7 or more, double-digit Ks, that probably happened a lot. Maybe not, I don't know. But 2 or fewer runs, craziness. And I can't believe that tonight at Petco was the record crowd, as Craig has pointed out here. That's also amazing. What? You know why? It's the Dodger fans showed up. 46,000. It was beautiful down there today. It was like 78. Sunny and 78. Yeah, I looked behind the Dodger dugout at one point when they had a shot coming from the Padre dugout, kind of across home plate. You could see the batter, the on-deck hitter, and then the fans behind the dugout. The Dodgers are on the third base side at Petco, the visiting team rather. Padres, for whatever reason, I think it's the way the sun comes into Petco, they wanted the first base side. So I paused it and I was like, how many Dodger fans are behind the Dodger dugout? Like everybody behind the Dodger dugout was a Dodger fan. I was like, how many Padre fans can I find behind the Dodger dugout? I think I spotted 3 that were like in the second row. They were just so outnumbered. And when Teoscar hit that home run, I mean, the place went crazy, right? It was out of control. So yeah, 56,000, was it 56 or 46? Whatever the number, I think it was 46. Last night they had 44. So they were almost there last night with the record total. But the biggest crowd ever at Petco was like right around 45,000. And tonight it was 46,701. The game lasted 2:03 and Dodgers win it 5-0. The over-under was 9.5. So nothing doing there. But, really another tough loss for the Padres, I would say. They did enough to win this game. As I said, that Varland, oh no, that's the Dodger reliever. What was that starter's name with the W? Waldron. He did very well. I mean, he had the Dodgers baffled. The Dodgers were out hit by the Padres again, 6-5. Dodgers hit 2 home runs to score all their runs. They just keep hitting home runs. And the bullpen keeps shutting people down. The stat coming into the game was the bullpen has a sub-1 ERA over the last 8. Make that 9. They're just absolutely mowing people down. And this is with a lot of dudes like Evan Phillips on the IL. I still love seeing that Yarbrough guy come out there late in the game. Dodgers beat him in the total base department 12-7. And the Padres left 1 more on base, 7-6. But if you think you look at that runners in scoring position, I caught a glimpse of it real quickly. Dodgers were 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position, only to be outdone by the Padres 0 for 6. So everything is going well. They are finding the desire, they're finding the mojo, and when they lose, it's not like they are getting embarrassed or that pitcher last night, Michael King, just had it working. So it's a tough loss for the Padres. This one's got to sting a little bit more than last night. Obviously, they won last night, so they feel good about that. And tomorrow, the rubber game is a matinee. Again, Paxton with the win now, 5-0. As far as the bullpen, Varland zeros with 1K. 13 pitches. He looked really good. I love that guy's action. Again, he has that whippy, fast wind up and release. And it's tough for batters to pick up the ball because he releases the ball so quickly in his windup. And Yarbrough is the exact opposite. I think potentially, maybe this is just me speculating, that having a guy like Varland with that quick release in front of a guy like Yarbrough, who's like a sloth on the mound. I wonder if that's his nickname. No, his nickname, we've been over this. His nickname is Yarbs, but they should call him Sloth, right? He's so slowed. He's probably a very chill dude, right? Never met him yet. Hope to go to a few games this year and talk to a few of these guys so I can have some more inside perspective for you. But Yarbrough is nails as far as I'm concerned, throwing the ball at, the low 70s on the regular. Again, zeros across the board, except for a couple of hits, and Muncy saving the day there to get out of that jam. And you're right, Craig, Muncy's been playing fantastic defense over there at third base. And they talked about why with this live fungo thing. We'll get into that after the break. And we'll also get to the Diamond Dogs list here in just a minute. Feierheisen gets the save. Actually, no save because they were up 5-0, but he threw up zeros across the board with 1K, 14 pitches. I mean, his ERA is 9. Surprisingly, the last couple of times he's been out there, he's done very well. And as I said, the bullpen as a whole, sub-1 ERA through the last 9. They're just absolutely dialed in right now. So how is his ERA 9? That's pretty crazy. But not even a blink of an eye there. That was over. That was over before I could get from the house to the studio, man. It was crazy. All right, let's run down the Diamond Dogs list here real quick. Top 5 plays of the game. Number 5, of course, Freddie Freeman, his 4th home run of the season. It came on a knuckler that didn't knuckle so much. 341 feet down the right field line on a 1-1 count. It extends his on-base streak to 19 games, which is the longest on-base streak in the majors going right now. For number 4, this other guy named Freddie Freeman, a double. He had the first 2 hits before Teoscar got things going there. So he doubled in the 4th, came on a high fastball with a full count. It was one of those ones where he thought he got the walk and they called a strike. So he had to get back in the box, and then he hammers a double. So that worked out well for him. For number 2, I threw James Paxton up there because I thought he was fantastic today. Even though I wanted him to give up one more hit, I still I didn't think I had a shot the way he started the game. He went clean in the first inning, and we talk about that a lot. I enjoy that. It makes me feel confident that they're off to a good start. And a quick first inning is always helpful to a pitcher, especially when, the other pitcher is dealing as well. So they're not putting up a lot of runs. So Paxton, after the grand slam, which did he make it? So the top, yeah, he finished that bottom half of the inning, which had to be a cush bottom of the 6th for him, because at that point they were up 5-0, but striking out 4 with no walks and just 4 hits. So a fantastic confidence building performance for him at number 3. Number 4, 5-4. That was 3. Number 2, both James Outman and Max Muncy's defense. Nice diving plays. And you could give honorable mention to Gavin Lux. He had a couple of nice plays at second base as well. The over-the-shoulder catch, the stretch line drive catch that he made. So the defense, has been lights out. And even though Outman is still not hitting the ball, he got on base with a walk today. He's playing fantastic D, and that's that's part of the entire package. Defense is important. It's not as important now as it is in the postseason, but he's contributing. So hopefully he figures out a way to get out of the slump. I don't know what it is. Again, I'm watching him closely. I watched him again today, and I was like, he's watching strikes. He just doesn't seem aggressive enough. I mean, I feel like he needs a caffeine jolt before the game or something. His stoicism is a little too stoic for me. So I want more, like, who's a historically fired up player, like, maybe who am I thinking of? Like somebody that would hit themselves in the head with the bat when they strike out, like somebody like that. He just seems too like, that was a strike. Oh, I'm out. Okay, whatever. I don't love it. I feel like he needs more energy, more excitement, more enthusiasm. Just, he's got to get fired up. And it's just not happening right now for him. Last night on the Padre broadcast, their broadcaster brought up the fact that he has the, I think I talked about it last night, but it's interesting to me because he has the lowest batting average in Major League Baseball. So the Dodgers have the guy with the lowest batting average and the highest because Shohei Ohtani continues to lead the league at 352. But that diving stop from Muncy at third, he also made a couple of nice, ground ball plays to get outs. He's just turned into a very, very good third baseman. And they blame it all on live ball fungo. We'll talk about that after the break. Hey, you got to blame it on something, I guess, or attribute it to something. And that's what they're going to hang their hat on as to why the Dodgers defense has improved so dramatically. But we'll get into that a little bit more after our final break. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel and the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. I am Pete Fox, and thank you for joining me. All right, tomorrow is Mother's Day, and if you've been lazy and you have not taken your mother to lunch already like I did today, or you have not gone out and bought her a gift like I did with my daughter for my wife, her mother, then you can do some of this DoorDash stuff. Find your mom something thoughtful on DoorDash. You can still surprise her. There is still plenty of time. Wherever you are, you can send her some fresh flowers, some tech, gift cards, maybe some bath bombs or a face mask, self-care treatment like that, and a lot of other things. Maybe just, some ice cream and a bottle of wine. If she's a wine drinker, there's so many options on DoorDash, stores all over your neighborhood. It makes it super easy. Order now and get everything you need for Mother's Day on DoorDash. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get 50% off your next order of up to $15 when you spend $15. Again, flowers, convenience, grocery, or retail. Order now, DoorDash. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. Tonight's show also brought to you by Policygenius. It's the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Policygenius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help you walk through it and talk through it so you know exactly what you're getting and that you get the right thing. And they have no incentive to recommend one insurer over the other. They're just giving you the flat information, and then you can use their guidance to make an educated decision. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb. All right, Dodgers with a 5-0 shutout of the Padres. Teoscar Hernandez, his 11th round tripper. Grand slam home run after the Dodgers loaded the bases with 3 walks, a balk, and a wild pitch. Thank you, Padres, for that. But they spent a lot of time talking about the Dodger defense, and Dino Ebel, former Angels third base coach, who's now the Dodgers third base coach. And I think he has another title like infield coach or defensive specialist or something. But they say, or they talked about tonight, that the Dodgers do this thing called live ball fungos. And I've coached baseball and I know what a fungo is. It's a very light bat. And they said that they only do live ball fungos during spring training. And when they get into the regular season, they stop doing it. And I was at that point confused because I've been to hundreds of baseball games where I stood there on the field before the game watching coaches hit fungos to players at their position. And then Joe Davis explained that a live ball fungo is where the ball, I guess, is pitched to the guy hitting the fungos versus just a soft toss from the guy hitting the fungo. And so it comes off the bat in a more realistic manner. It's almost like batting practice with a fungo. So I'm like, that's interesting, because I've wondered forever, when you're in any level of baseball other than pros and maybe like college, Division I don't think they do it there either, but almost every other level of baseball, they do infield before the game where, you turn a double play, you throw to first base. There's always a very choreographed routine for most levels of baseball that are above like the little 5-year-old tykes and high school, right? High school, senior league, little league, all that stuff. You run infield before the game. It's very, very standard. And I was like, why don't they do that because it gets you warmed up for the game. It really does. Why don't they do that at the major league level? I never understood that. All they do is take these fungos, which are kind of lazy ground balls, which help you just work on your technique. So I do appreciate that the Dodgers are doing something a little out of character. It's very different. It's not something you see at all. It's not infield per se, but they're getting ground balls that I guess are hit a little bit harder and that are more realistically emulating a ball coming off of a bat at the plate that has been pitched by a pitcher. So that's kind of cool and different. And, we take for granted this time of year that defense is easy, right? You don't generally focus too much on it if you lose a game. It's rare this time of year that you lose a game for defensive purposes, right? You either lose a game because you didn't hit the ball that well or your pitcher was garbage, whether it's your starter or your bullpen or whatever. But very rarely you go, oh, we lost this game because Max Muncy booted one at third base or something. It doesn't happen that much this time of year, right? They usually overcome it. When it does happen is the postseason, and then it's magnified and we're all pissed off like so-and-so made an error. So I like the fact that they're spending extra time, putting extra focus on defense this time of year. It does feel to me like the Dodgers are so dialed in right now on all of the details that when they go through bad streaks, they're not going to be as bad as they normally are, right? They losing streaks, they're going to happen. They're not going to keep this up for the entire season. They're going to lose some games here and there. They're going to lose 4 or 5 in a row. They're going to get swept. It's going to happen. But I feel like they're going to be able to come out of it easier because they are so focused, hyper-focused on every element of the game to win a World Series, right? I was talking to a former colleague yesterday, works in the sports business like I do, runs a radio station, pays close attention to baseball, all the sports. And I was like, I like feels like the Dodgers are the team, right? I know the Phillies are fantastic right now as well, but it feels like the Dodgers are just loaded. And he was just like, it was over for him. He was like, this season is done. The Dodgers are the World Series champions. There's no questioning that they're going to win the World Series. And I'm like, whoa, slow down, man, slow down. But it does feel like it feels different. Now, I will couch that by saying I said it felt different for the Clippers as well when they were going through that brilliant streak, January, February, but this just feels more loaded than even the Clippers could attest to. They feel like they have it all locked in, and once J-Hay comes back, and fingers crossed, James Outman starts hitting, the bottom of the lineup starts producing a little more. Gavin Lux had a hit tonight. Pa has had a hit, played some good defense. They're just doing all of the small things right. Bullpen's locked in. 4 or fewer runs for the Dodgers over their last 17 games. That is amazing, right? 4 or fewer runs. Like, you'd think, every now and then they're going to get blown out like they did in that second game of the year by the Padres in Korea, 15-11 or whatever. You would think, that'll happen every now and then. No, not yet. Not over their last 17. Beautiful streak to go on. And let's hope they keep it rolling. And let's hope they wrap up the series tomorrow for their 6th consecutive series win in a row. That's another thing. That really, if I had a whiteboard up here and I was keeping track of the things I want the Dodgers to continue to do week after week after week, all summer long, it is win series. Just win 2 out of 3. Tomorrow, 110. I guarantee you we're going to get a similar. Oh, no, they didn't win the series yet. So that's only when they're already have won the series and they're looking for the sweep, right? They have a little bit of a different intensity and a different attitude. Tomorrow, they're looking to win this series, and they're looking to win one against the Padres. They have now won. So they were 2-4 against the Padres. So now they're 3-4. They win tomorrow, they'll be 500 against the Padres this season. And I think that would be meaningful to them. Walker Buehler versus Yu Darvish. So it'll be worth checking out for sure. And I will be here to break it down for you after the game is over. Thanks again for joining me. Thank you for your comments. We will talk tomorrow after Dodgers Padres, the rubber game from Petco. Thanks for watching us on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. And thanks for listening on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. We'll talk tomorrow afternoon.